Hello, everybody. Well, it's been quite a while since I have offered a gentle flow. These classes are different, significantly different than the restorative classes because we do move and flow a lot in them. And one thing I was thinking about, I think even subconsciously, sometimes we can think of this like gentle movement is, good for your mind, good for your soul, but it might not have quite the impact as very active or vigorous movement has for your body. But I don't actually believe this to be true. The movement in your joints, the movement in your tissues that gentle flow can promote is really, really healthy for your physical being in addition to the other pieces. And that's not to take away from any of the benefits of the vigorous movement, but what I believe after many years of practicing is a balance is really nice. Sometimes, especially as we age, that mobility factor that we get through some intentional, mindful, gentle movement really, really benefits us in our quality of life and then also in the longevity of our mobility, being able to continue to stay active. So that's my little pitch for why gentle yoga is really good for not only your mind and your soul, but your body too. So let's go ahead and get into it. You might want a couple blocks and maybe a blanket and a pillow, and we'll kind of cover the range in this flow. We'll be sitting, we'll be standing, we'll be on our hands and knees a little bit. There'll be a little bit of weight bearing on the arms, but not very much. All right, so let's go ahead and start seated, and you could maybe sit up on a pillow or a low blanket, probably not a block for this first part, and go ahead, take a cross-legged seat if that feels good, crossed at the shins here. And take your hands to the fronts of the knees. We're going to start right in with a movement today. So as you inhale, you're going to roll your heart forward, shoulders back. And as you exhale, round the spine. Inhale forward and exhale back. So like a seated cat and cow. We'll do 3 more. And we'll come right back to the neutral spine. Place your right hand down next to you. You can kind of lean over towards it. Inhale the left arm up to the sky. And exhale, you're going to take a nice side bend over to your right. And very simple here, we're just going to come about halfway up. And then exhale again in the side bend. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, over. Okay, 2 more. Then we'll inhale, come on back up. Exhale, gently melt that left arm down. And when you're ready, put the left hand down at your side. Inhale, right arm up. The right palm can kind of face over towards the left. I know it's a little hard to see with the sunshine beaming in here. And exhale, side bend over. All right, come on back up. And bending in. Ooh, tight on that side for me today. We'll do 3 more. Good. And then we're going to come on back up. We'll go ahead and melt both hands down. Go ahead and switch your front leg here. And we're going to interlace the fingers in front of us. Inhale, send the palms forward and up. And exhale, separate your hands, let them melt down. Right, and then again, interlace. Breathe in as you reach forward and up. Exhale, release, and just 1 more of these. Inhale. Exhale. Right, now we're going to take our hands into our lap, and if you could please place your left hand inside the right hand and just rest them down in your lap. Sit up nice and tall, long in the back of the neck. And if it resonates for you today, close your eyes. And just enjoy a few rounds of breath. Inviting yourself to just be fully present in this process and fully open to the healing and the empowering of this kind of movement. Let's take a nice deep breath in together. Maybe open the mouth to let it out. Good. Very nice. We're going to come onto our hands and knees, and that could look like fists and knees for you. Another thing that I just absolutely love when I want that kind of grounding of the tabletop, because it's a very sensory grounding pose here, is to use blocks, and you can use them at any height under my hands when I don't feel like I really want my hand fully down in that handprint shape, because you can kind of hook your fingers over the edge of the block and it takes a little pressure off the wrist. Just something you could do. And again, fists are another nice way to maybe take some pressure off of the wrists. We'll take a couple rounds of cat and cow here. Inhale, lifting the chest, and exhale, rounding the spine. And just one more like that. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to come back to a neutral spine, and we're going to take some lateral circles in the spine, or sometimes we call them barrel rolls. So what you'll do here is move your rib basket over to the right and then dome it up towards the sky, and then rib basket over to the left, and then bring it down towards the mat. So you're just thinking of bringing your ribs in a circle, and usually takes me a couple moments to sort of find the movement, because it's not one I do a lot. We tend in yoga to work a lot in that flexion and extension of the spine, so the back bend and the forward folding, but not as much in this nice lateral expression. All right, you're going to go ahead and switch directions. So same movement. And as you can see here, my shoulders are moving, my hips are moving. It's not, an isolated thing where everything's connected. All right, we'll come back into the neutral shape, and then let's take it back into a nice child's pose here. So you can bring your big toes into touch if that's comfortable, spread your knees out wide, and walk your hands forward. You can also have your knees closer together. Sometimes the knees out wide is just kind of nice to make a lot of good space for your torso to stretch itself forward. And this one we will just hold in relative stillness for several rounds of breath. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we're going to come up. We'll walk the hands back toward the knees here. And you can curl your toes under behind you. Place your hands or fingertips down. Gently now roll over onto the soles of your feet. Step them out generously wider than hips width. Bend your knees a bunch here, a lot, and then fold forward. So it's a ragdoll, but the legs are so bent that, perhaps your torso is resting on the legs or nearly resting on the legs. You can maybe shake your head out, yes or no.
You might like to take opposite hand to opposite elbow. Maybe sway the whole torso a little bit. And just make sure that you're breathing deeply here. All right. And then we'll release the hands down.
Bend even more into the legs perhaps. Take your hands onto the thighs. Gently push yourself up. Okay, so this next bit, still I hope it's gentle, but it's definitely challenging. There's a balance piece to this here. Take your hands to your heart center. And we're just gonna lift the left knee in front of the left hip. And then we're gonna swing it back some amount here. So coming toward what would be like an airplane pose. Inhale, lift it back up. Step it to the middle of the mat. Exhale here. And then inhale, right knee comes up. Exhale, take it back. And it might be just taking it back and tapping the toes on the mat. Inhale, take it back up. Exhale, step it forward. Left foot joins, and we're at the top of the mat. Release your arms down to your sides. Have your feet about hips width distance now here. And we'll take a couple half salutations. One of my favorite things to do when I'm going into a gentle flow. Inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale, fold forward, bending your knees there any amount. This is your forward fold. Press your hands to the shins or anywhere in the legs that feels comfortable. Halfway lift here. And exhale, you can fold again. Head relaxes down, shoulders are soft. And then energy as you sweep your arms up towards the sky. Maybe palms press, arms to your sides. Again, same thing. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're gonna reach on up and release. Let's go ahead and do one more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Fold again. Reach up, breathe in. And release. All right, good. We're gonna take another one of my favorite gentle flow movements here, and I'll have my back to you on this one so you can see. So right foot's gonna stay forward. Left foot steps back. And we'll start by taking our arms out to our sides. And exhale, just bend into the right knee, really any amount here. Straighten back up. We'll do that 2 more times. So we bend, we straighten, we bend, and we straighten. Okay, now this one gets a little more complicated here, but I hope it's fun once you get the hang of it. You're gonna bring your right arm up and your left arm behind you. And then it's like, if you know cow face pose, it's kind of like that. So this right hand is gonna come down the back, palm toward or on the back. And this left hand's gonna come up with the back of the hand on the back. And then if you can lean your torso back a little bit. So what we have here is maybe a reverse triangle with cow face arms to get technical about it. Okay, so this is our inhale position. Now, as you exhale, you're gonna re-bend into the right knee, and we're gonna come forward to a side angle pose where the left arm comes overhead, right arm grazes the right leg here. And then we just move between those. So inhale and exhale. It doesn't have to be a super deep bend into this right leg. Let's do 3 more of these. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I lost count because it's so fun to me. I think this is the last one. Exhale. All right, we'll come back to the warrior 2. Relax your arms, and you can just kind of toe heel your feet together comfortably and then step to the top of your mat. Nice simple transition to side 2. So left foot forward, right foot back. We've got about a left heel to arch alignment. Take your arms out and let's just warm up with some warrior 2. So inhale, exhale, bend the left knee any amount for a warrior. Straighten and bend and straighten and bend. Okay, now straighten it out. And remember here, we're going to take that right hand behind us, back of the hand to the back. Left arm comes up and then left palm to the back or towards the back. And then we lean back, right? Just a little bit of a reverse side bend here. Lovely for the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, gently unravel. You can feel, like I was talking about at the beginning, like all of that gentle movement for the joints. So much happening just in this little transition. Okay, let's go for 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last 2. Wonderful. All right, we'll come on back up. Relax the arms, straighten the legs. Just go ahead and get your legs toe heel together. Ooh, I got stuck. Top of the mat. And we'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Take a halfway lift, and let's please step back to a tabletop position. Right? And we're going to take a down dog. If you wanted to use blocks for the down dog, low height would be the height to use, and it's very important that you do have your hand on the block. Maybe it's a little bit of a grip, maybe it's the palm, but that you're pushing down and forward, so it's very, very secure. Just be very careful if you use blocks on down dog. I love it. It's a great tool, but you just want to make sure you got tons of security there. We'll curl the toes under. Downward dog. So let's go ahead and just move this one really intuitively. I'm going to have us stay for a little while so you have a chance to move, but you come out whenever you're ready to come out, of course. Good. If you could please take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, come on down to your hands and knees. You're going to swing your legs around here and come onto your back. We'll get right into some movement on the back here. So keep your right foot down, cross your left ankle over the right knee. So this is your figure 4 shape here. And you're welcome to keep the right foot down or pick the right foot up, interlacing your fingers around the back of the right thigh or further around the shin. And for the first few moments, why don't you go ahead and rotate your ankles around a little bit. All right, and then bring that into a little bit of stillness. Another several rounds of breath here. Now, one thing to remember when you're laying down is if you find your chin is jutting way up here, which could happen just when you lay down, just by the shape of your spine, or it could be exacerbated by trying to do a pretty stretchy pose like this. Put a little pillow or a little blanket underneath your head so your neck is neutral. Not only can it make a difference in your physical comfort, but it's a nice signaling to your nervous system as well, your vagus nerve in particular, to help you find some peace and relaxation. All right, one more inhale here. Good. Now, as you exhale, can you please bring your right foot down? And you're going to hug the left knee in towards the chest now. Give it a squeeze. Maybe it's pressing somewhere against the torso here for a little self-massage. All right, and then if comfortable, you're going to extend your right leg down the mat. And for a moment here, you're stretching that right leg forward as you hug the left knee in. Now, you can let that left knee come away from you so that it's just over the hip now. Take your right hand to the left leg and draw that leg across the body. Now this twist is pretty stretchy one. I know we're in a gentle flow, but this is a pretty extended version of spinal twist. You can feel free to replace it with something else. You may like to adjust your hips so they're a little more stacked here, left over right, and open your chest up some amount towards the ceiling. Generally, when I'm doing this version of recline twist, I like to keep my left hand pretty cozy, just kind of in towards my hip or ribs. But sometimes it feels good to extend it out like a T, where you'll get a nice stretch across the chest perhaps, just to make sure you're not overstretching here. You can always turn your gaze to the left too if you'd like. A few more breaths. Good. Inhale here. And exhale. Bring everything back to center. We're going to take a little pause. So just even out your hips, even out your upper body, and maybe take your feet out wide. Let your knees come in to touch. Just see how you feel. Allow yourself to get gravitated down towards the earth. You're not just a machine of doing. Taking some time to care for the vessel that you live in is so important. All right, let's just do these last two poses on the second side. So half pigeon, right knee over, or right ankle, over the left leg. You can maybe take your bind there around the shin or the hamstrings, and let's take the first few moments just moving the ankles around a bit. And you can bring those into stillness. We'll stay here for several more breaths. Good. And then left foot can come down here. We're going to hug the right knee in and give it a nice little squeeze here. While you're still squeezing there, extend your left leg long. So you've got that nice counter pose between the two legs, really stretching the left foot forward, hugging the right leg in. And then release the right leg enough that the knee tracks over the hip. Left hand's going to come to the outer right leg, and you'll draw that leg across your body. Now here, you can stack your hips if you like. It's not necessary, but just feels a lot less kind of awkward in my body to give my hips that ease. And then see how you're feeling. Again, big twist. Maybe this right hand just hugs in. Maybe it comes out. Maybe your gaze turns. Okay, my friends, let's go ahead and come back into center. Align everything back to center, so hips to the middle of the mat. And hug your knees in, just give your whole body here a rock side to side. And locate one of your blocks. We're gonna press the feet down, lift the hips, and slide the block at its lowest height underneath your sacrum. You can also use a pillow or even a little blanket, just any sort of little lift here. But if you do have the block, make sure it's really comfortably situated under the sacrum so it feels lovely and not intrusive. And then if available, you're going to lift your legs up here. Right? If it's counterindicated for you for any reason to have the knees over the heart, you can, of course, skip this part. We're just going to stay for a few more rounds of breath. Getting that nice hover point in the legs, so you don't need to stretch the hamstrings here. We're just kind of hanging the legs up in the air. One more inhale. And exhale. Release. Lift your hips enough to gently slide the block out, lower down, bit by bit until you're grounded again. Get gravitated down. And then to close, hug your knees in. This time maybe a little wider toward the outside of the ribs, and take another couple rocks side to side. And then laying yourself down for Shavasana, maybe putting a bolster or pillow underneath your knees if you like. Perhaps scooting the shoulder blades together underneath you a little bit to get just really grounded. And your soft jaw. Maybe your eyes are gently closed. Taking a couple minutes just for full rest here. Of course, you're welcome to stay longer in your Shavasana whenever you choose. But if you are ready to take this practice off of the mat now, you can maybe bring in a little bit of movement back into the body, or maybe a nice big stretch, reaching forward through the arms, or back through the arms rather, forward through the legs with an inhale. As you take an exhale here, maybe beginning to make your way over onto your side, where you can rest there. And of course, you've been laying down for a little while now, so come up, gently, gradually. You can press a hand in front of your chest and gently lift yourself back up to seated. When you're there, lengthen up through the spine. Feel that new space that you have created through this particular and really beneficial type of movement today. Hands to your heart center. We'll take a nice big breath in together. Full breath out. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace, 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 everyone.